And still counting. Nigeria is on the threshold of the inauguration of President Muhammadu Buhari for a second term of 4 years on the platform of the All Progressives Congress, and expectations are high on the offerings for the next level. Evaluating the performance of the first 4 years of the Buhari administration is our focus on Panorama from the Lagos Network Center. I am Dotun Ogunyemi. Welcome. The 2019 appropriation bill of 9.92 trillion naira has been signed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari. Tagged Budget of Continuity, the president dotted the lines for implementation amidst regrets over changes introduced by the National Assembly, which he described as counterproductive. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has details.
Although the 2019 Budget of Continuity is one of the earliest to be signed into law under the Buhari presidency, additions introduced by the National Assembly to the financial document may have killed the excitement that would have greeted the ceremony. Over 90.3 billion naira was added to the 8.83 trillion naira proposed by the executive.
This increase reflects changes introduced by the National Assembly. In some areas, expenses we proposed were reduced, while in other areas they were increased. There were also certain areas where new additions were introduced into the budget. Of course, some of these changes will adversely impact our programs, making it difficult for us to achieve the objectives of the economic recovery and the growth plan.
At the ceremony witnessed by Senate President Bukola Saraki, Speaker Yakubu Dogara, Deputy Senate President Ike Ikweremadu, amongst other lawmakers, the president said as soon as the leadership of the 9th National Assembly emerges, robust engagement will commence towards addressing areas of concern.
Our goal was to use this budget to move the economy further on the path of inclusive, diversified, and sustainable growth. It is my intention to continue to engage the National Assembly to ensure we deliver on our promises. We will also look at how to improve the budget process so that, among other things, we can speed up budget consideration processes and return the country to the January to December fiscal year timetable.
The 2019 budget is predicated on a benchmark oil price of $60 per barrel, oil production estimate of 2.3 million barrels per day, exchange rate of 305 naira to a dollar, real GDP growth of 3.01%, as well as an inflation rate of 9.98%. The budget, the government believes, is an important step towards building the Nigeria of everyone's dream. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, gives reasons why the lawmakers continue to tinker with budget estimates presented by the executive.
By the constitutional design, the executive proposes what they intend to do, and then the representative of the people in Congress, so National Assembly, as is our own case in Nigeria, decides what is the priority, since they represent the people. And as such, it's going to be a knotty area that may continue to define the relationship between the executive and the legislature. But if you look at it, whether it is Britain, US, wherever it is always a strength, this issue of budget, because it deals with high-stakes distributional issues as to who get what, which part of Nigeria gets this and that. So it will continuously be an issue.
Budget and National Planning Minister Udoma is expected to give more details on the approved budget on Tuesday. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari says Nigeria, under his watch, will not let her citizens down as regards the security of lives and property. This was at a meeting with the Northern Governors Forum, led by the outgoing chairman, Governor Kashim Shettima of Borno State. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the report.
The security of the country, President Muhammadu Buhari said, is on his mind 24 hours of the day. He bemoaned the ravaging effect of unchecked corruption in the past on the nation's armed forces, saying the terrible effects of mismanagement were prevalent and the prevailing situation is part of the consequences. The president, who promised to increase the frequency of his engagement with security chiefs, expressed interest in getting reports from governors who have difficult relationships with security heads in their states. During the closed-door meeting, the governors took turns to draw the president's attention to specific challenges they face in their respective states, as explained by Governor Aminu Bello Masari of Katsina State.
What was known to be cattle rustling in Northwest and some parts of North Central has turned out to be something different from what we had before. So this concern made us come and brief Mr. President so that urgent action should be taken in order to curb this deadly menace of banditry, which is gradually graduating into insurgency. And the President has given his full commitment that something seriously will be done in order to make sure that this menace is curbed.
The governors commended the federal government's efforts at curbing Boko Haram terrorism and farmers-herders clashes, which they say had been dealt with, thereby virtually restoring normalcy to the northeast. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has advocated the need for traditional rulers and elders of the Niger Delta region to do much more towards ending pipeline vandalism and other acts of economic sabotage in their communities. Receiving the South-South Monarchs Forum, the president said this is necessary because destruction of oil facilities hurts more of the host communities and the environment more than the government. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo again has the details.
The South-South Monarchs Forum, led by the Amanyanabo of Nembe Kingdom, King Edmond Daukoro, was in the State House to congratulate President Muhammadu Buhari on his re-election and discuss issues of specific relevance to the zone. The president told the monarchs that they were culturally and traditionally positioned to complement government efforts at enhancing security in the Niger Delta. He charged them to educate the youth on the dangers pipeline vandalism and related nefarious activities posed to the environment and the economy.
Continue to be courageous enough and educate your people, those youths that are restless. Let them stop blowing this thing because they are hurting your people more than hurting the government. When you pollute the area, the majority of your people cannot fish and cannot farm, and that's what they depend on. You have a lot of role to play in securing the area.
President Buhari also decried the spate of kidnapping in the area, urging the royal fathers not to relent in their support to security agencies to effectively contain the negative trend. He used the forum to respond to an inquiry by the group on 10% equity participation for host communities in solid minerals and whether the same is applicable to the oil sector.
The Constitution was very mindful of the way the resources are shared. I think 13% is by derivation, which means relative to what you are producing, 13% of it is given to your states. And then whatever is offshore into the continental shelf, it belongs to nation state. Again, your state gets their own share. And if the federal government is cheating you by denying you part of the 13% or the balance from the continental shelf, you as the leadership, you ought to have seen it by now.
On the Niger Delta Development Commission, the president told the forum that his administration is not unmindful of his core mandate, but also the conditions in the area as well as the strategic importance of the geopolitical zone to the economy and stability of the country. The Amanyanabo of Nembe Kingdom, King Edmond Daukuru, on behalf of the monarchs, raised the issue of Niger Delta security, economic development, infrastructure, environment, and oil sector matters, on which they stressed the need to hold operators accountable for their lack of transparency in community development programs.
In exercise of our role as traditional fathers, we plead with all those who are unhappy with the imperfections of our electoral process to graciously transcend their grievances and to join the immense task we all face of building a strong, secure, and prosperous Nigeria.
On his part, the Amanyanabo of Twan Bros, Alfred Data-Spiff, made a case for more tangible federal presence in Bayelsa State, especially in the construction of some critical roads infrastructure whose contracts were awarded by him 50 years ago as military governor, but nothing much had happened since then. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has formally received his Asset Declaration form from the Code of Conduct Bureau as preparations continue for his second-term inauguration in office. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo yet again reports.
The Chairman Code of Conduct Bureau, Professor Muhammad Isa, formally presented the Assets Declaration forms to the President for necessary action in fulfillment of constitutional requirements for public office holders. The forms are for the end of tenure and beginning of another term of office.
We are very much grateful for this honor done to us, and we want to assure you, Mr. President, that you will discharge the honors pressed on us with every sense of priority.
At the remarkable event, President Muhammadu Buhari said as a firm believer in the rule of law and constitutionality, his forms will be filled and returned quickly.
Fit safely because there are people who thought they shouldn't be questioned, which are being questioned, and some of them are already in trouble.
At the end of 2023,
I expect them to fight back, and this is one of the instruments.
President Buhari appreciated the chairman and other members of the Code of Conduct Bureau for keeping alive the anti-corruption crusade.
We cannot overemphasize the importance of your office because Nigerians, we were notorious for shortcuts, in serving and accounting public responsibilities. And we are trying to impress our nation and the world that this administration believes in accountability. It is only institutions like you that will bear us out for the efforts we have been making to make sure that people in public office
live within their means,
hold the integrity of the office and of the country generally.
The Code of Conduct Bureau has a mandate of ensuring that the actions and behavior of public officers conform to the highest standards of public morality and accountability. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Joining me to examine the successes of the Buhari administration and expectations from Nigerians is Dr. Segun Bolariwa, Associate Professor of International Relations and Strategic Studies, Nigerian Institute of International Affairs. Welcome to Panorama.
Thank you.
All right, sir. Tomorrow, Nigerians would, again witness the inauguration of President Muhammadu Buhari. How will you assess the first 4 years of his administration?
President Muhammadu Buhari's last 4 years, or the administration that we're going to end today and ushers in a new one tomorrow, has been been filled with ups and downs. First of all, he got into the government as at the time when the nation was in serious crisis, with political, economic, even social crisis.
Security as well.
And security, more importantly. So it just have to put a lot of things in place in the past 4 years so that a milestone could be set of course, the Japanese will say, no nation or no person builds his house from the roof. Every house is built from the foundation. So the past 4 years, President Muhammadu Buhari's administration had built on a very solid foundation. And by the grace of God, which is trying to now build upon now, sustain a lot of the successes that we have recorded. Of course, in the area of security, yes, there are still challenges. There is no nation around the world that is not faced with any challenge, either security, economic, or political. So ours, more importantly, is that of security. But also at the same time, in the past 4 years, President Muhammadu Buhari's administration had done so well to have been able to at least done a lot of things in the area of security, and particularly in the area of Boko Haram insurgency. So the administration had done so well. At least today, officially, which is verifiable by everybody out there, is that Boko Haram is no more in Nigeria. Of course, the dissidents or those dissidents who have scattered around the country are still doing some problems or throwing some bombs and doing some skirmishes of attacks and all of that. So, but so far so good. In all sincerity, this administration has dealt so well with the issue of insecurity. Of course, and recently also there is also an increased wave of banditry, and some other issues like the farmers' others crisis and all of that. But just as we have seen now with the meeting the president just had yesterday with the northern governors, all of that are being put in place. And I know that in the nearest administration from tomorrow, the president will also do more in that area. Then in the area of economy, the administration had done so well to have moved Nigeria out of economic recession. Yeah. And now, even to the extent that the Nigerian economy now became the largest and the biggest economy in Africa. And we are still moving, and we hope it will still be better off to also challenge even economies beyond Africa.
Okay, so Dr. Bolara, you've mentioned some positive areas where the administration has done fairly well. What would be your message to be the focus of the administration for the next 4 years?
Good. Just like President Muhammadu Buhari has been saying in the past few days or weeks, he said the security of the nation, the security and the protection of lives and property that belongs to the citizens of this nation and this nation as well is his major priority, and that is going to do more in that area. So one of the first major focus of the president and this present administration from tomorrow will be security. Boko Haram insurgency, like I said, is diminishing in potency and actions and the activities. So I know the president will try to do that and nip it in the bud. 2, this rate of banditry, particularly in Zamfara and other places, farmers, others, crisis and all of that, the president is looking seriously into it. And I know he has a lot of reports on his table to tackle that. So security first, the economy, more importantly, the second. So behind every nation's interest lies the economic well-being of the nation and its people. So the president will look into the economy and do so well about that one. Nigeria's foreign policy too is also a very serious area. The way people see us from outside also goes a long way. But in the past 4 years now, the president and this current administration have done so well because Nigeria has been able to restore its integrity, its glory, is even the respect given to us, the citizens, the nation as a whole. That has been restored in the past 4 years under President Muhammadu Buhari, and I hope it's going to also build upon that one, increase upon that one, which has made him achieve a lot of things. Presently, President Muhammadu Buhari has been begged into accepting the chairmanship of the ECOWAS. So he's presently the chairman of ECOWAS. And presently also the African Union is looking up to President Muhammadu Buhari and Nigeria for leadership on the continent, which has been doing so well, particularly in the area of fighting corruption, fighting other problems and anomalies within governments and governance around the continent, including Nigeria.
So, Dr. Barra,
even the United Nations has given us the same respect.
So as we now look and usher in the new administration tomorrow, what would be your call to citizens in terms of supporting government?
Yes, including myself sitting here, I call on Nigerians to please, as we have been so patient enough since the past 4 years, we should please also now please continue with our patience. Now is the time to reap that patience. We are now ready to reap it. President Muhammadu Buhari is ready to serve the nation, to help the nation, to help the citizens, to develop all the critical sectors. I heard him also mentioning last week that he's also going to focus in the area of education, that the sector is going to receive a lot of boost, help, and all of that. So please, Nigerian youths, Nigerian fathers and mothers, let us give President Muhammadu Buhari the support he needs now, the nation needs now, and that all of us will benefit from it by the special grace of God.
Thank you very much, Dr. Segun Bolariwa, Associate Professor of International Relations and Strategic Studies, Nigerian Institute of International Affairs.
Thank you so much.
We now take a short break. More reports when we return. Many thanks for staying with us. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has been described as an embodiment of humility, patriotism and selflessness. Those glowing words flowed freely at a valedictory session held for him by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture. Anthony Forson has more.
Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed, alongside other ministers appointed by President Muhammadu Buhari, came into office in November 2015. As Minister of Information and Culture, he managed the information machinery of the country effectively. 3.5 years down the road, the administration is winding down. So, at this valedictory session held for him and subsequent handing over of the reins of affairs to the Permanent Secretary, Chief Executives of Parastatals and Directors took turns to eulogize the minister, with the Permanent Secretary setting the stage.
My organ and guardian is a man of principle, honor, humility, humor, firmness, expertise, discipline, courage, to mention but a few.
That is the vast relationship which he, in his own way, fought. It would have been very difficult for us to achieve the wondrous things we recorded during our changes.
Sir, your head is up there today and said, this is what you have achieved. And you didn't use what you have gained to pay hospital bills. In fact, the way I'm seeing you, you are even ready active for another 10 years to come.
The minister, who spoke in few words, expressed gratitude for the level of support and cooperation extended to him.
I'm happy to say that I've largely enjoyed the support of the management and staff of this ministry. I've also enjoyed industrial harmony thanks to the warm relations with the unions.
With the formal handing over performed, the minister was also presented with gifts. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Nigeria's Flying Eagles on Monday evening lost their second match 0-2 to the United States of America in the ongoing FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Poland. Olumide Eguntola tells us more on Sports Update.